All right, let's talk about some of the storylines in this conference overall. We'll get to Duke in a second because there's so much we could talk about with Duke. What I want to start with, though, is I want to start with I think we all agree Duke is the best team in this conference. Do you guys, either
Most
you,
talented team, most talented. Yeah.
most talented team, do either you like if preseason ranked number one in your poll or whatever it would be? If you disagree, let me know. But I think the more interesting conversation is who you would have as the preseason number two in any kind of rankings or any kind of polls. I think that there's an argument for North Carolina. I think there's an argument for Virginia, which I'm sure TO is going to make here. I think
Yeah.
there's an argument for Wake Forest. I personally would make an argument for Louisville. I would not be against somebody putting Clemson in that same tier. I think that they're
Yeah.
probably just a little bit below, but I think that you have like four or five teams kind of in that mix. And I'll open it up to you first, Tio, since you're kind of the resident ACC expert, according to Tate Frazier on the One Shining podcast. What do you make of the second best team in this league? If you haven't heard by now, we have partnered with BetMGM Sportsbook. We're going to be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers of the Field of 68 throughout the year. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, you can use bonus code FIELD, and you will get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. The best part, all you need to do is deposit and bet $10 of your own hard-earned money to be eligible. Here's how you make it work. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using that bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you will receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure that you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. BetMGM is going to have some fun offers available throughout the NBA playoffs. Bet insurance tokens, odds boost, and what I love, a nice parlay boost or two from time to time, as well as a ridiculous array of player prop bets for any sport that you could possibly imagine betting on. BetMGM is and always will be the king of the prop bet. So go download the BetMGM app, use the bonus code FIELD, and sign up today. And while I've got you, a quick request. The best way to support the Field of 68 content that you get for free is to engage with us. Rate and review the podcast. Like and share the YouTube videos. Tell your friends about us. It all helps in a world where the algorithm is king. And now, back to the show.
So you sent a text message with Duke as your first tier, Louisville, UNC, Wake Forest, Virginia. I would add Clemson to that tier.
Yep.
That's where I'm at there. So I put Virginia at number two. I just feel like with what they do, the additions that they made fit Tony Bennett awesome. Elijah Saunders, transfer from San Diego State, strong as a bull, can step out and shoot. I think there's going to be times where they're going to play him at the 5, TJ Power at the 4, and they're going to have some shooting dudes in the front court. And you add in Jalen Worley from Florida State, who defensively, from a playmaking perspective, fits what he can do. Can Tony keep him on the right track? Because he's had a reputation of being a little bit erratic. You can't be erratic under Tony Bennett. Isaac McNeely is going to have another big year, averaged 12 last year. You averaged 12 at Virginia, might as well be 16 somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And off the catch, off the run shooter. You can design plays for him. I like Virginia's pieces. Day-Day Ames, a quality defender. Tane Murray has kind of keeping on. So, like, they have guys that fit that system really well. I'm a big fan of the TJ Power edition. Duke just didn't fit. Wasn't quite the athlete that needed to be on the floor with that team last year, and he was stuck behind Filipowski. I think this is a better fit for him. North Carolina guard plays huge. I think Cade Tyson, Hunter's little brother, if he doesn't start, could be in the running for sixth man of the year in the league. He's mean. He plays hard. He can shoot it, and he's a terrific cutter off the basketball. To me, guys, that Chase Hunter coming back, Ian Shefflin coming back, that's a great story, and they've added some pieces. The most intriguing thing to me is, will Wake Forest finally break the door down?
Yeah,
like Hunter Salas coming back. Like, if you think back the past few seasons at Wake Forest, Alondis Williams was there for a year, had a great season. Tyree Appleby was there for a year, had a great season. Hunter Salas, we thought he might be there for a year, had a great season, comes back. It's the first time Steve's had retention with his best player.
You know what's funny about that? Not to cut you off. You know what's funny about that?
What's that?
If you read between the lines at some of the transfers that they brought in and the positions that some of those guys play, I don't know if they thought that they were going to be getting Hunter Salas back. I think that, you know how it was a surprise to us that Hunter Salas came back? I think it might have been a surprise to Wake Forest that Hunter Salas came back. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but I mean, but that all being said, I mean, was it David Cosby that transferred from Alabama? That was a highly recruited guy. He comes in. Tyler Johnson. Like, I think they get through and they make the NCAA tournament because there's a lot of talent on that team. Uh, I like being able to manipulate the game too, and I feel like Steve Forbes, the guys that he added, he can do that. You can go with Omaha Baloo. You can play him at the 4, maybe some small ball 5, and then put Tyler Johnson in at the point guard, and you're flying. And I think Tyler Johnson's going to be better with more structure. Last year, you kind of saw the natural talent, but he was like a dog that was untrained, but you could see like the potential there, the athleticism there, the speed there. But it was like a guy just let him off his leash and he didn't know where to go. Mm-hmm. That's what happened last year at Louisville. So, you know, I like the lineup versatility there. They've got some size. They got some settle down guys. They got speed. They could go big. Steve Forbes and Wake Forest really good. That's the most intriguing story for me in the top 2 tiers of this league.
Beta?
Well, I think that when I look at these teams, you know, I do respect the take that Virginia could be second. I think there's a bit of an open door. But
Sure.
If I were to have leans on who I think can finish second, it's North Carolina or Louisville. I do think that Louisville is good enough here, more than good enough, more than capable enough of finishing in the top 3 of this league. Yes.
Absolutely, yeah.
Cardinal fans should be pumped about this. Chucky Hepburn looks like a new man in Pat Kelsey's system. And Kason Pryor is going to have a big-time year. He can be an all-ACC first-team caliber type star. He's that good. They're going to play with Rich Pace. Stylistically, they're going to play a brand that I think is going to shake up the ACC. Louisville's no longer going to be the doormat. They're going to be stepping on some people that they haven't stepped on in quite some time. As for Carolina, I actually think Cade Tyson is the key if they're going to be that type of team in this league. Because R.J. Davis will be an All-American, and he could be in the National Player of the Year mix, no question about it. I want to see if Cadeau can make a leap. I think he naturally will. He was so young last year. That came with some growing pains. You got to think he's going to be more comfortable now. I'm fascinated by the Ian Jackson show, fellas. You know, I really am. I'm interested to see what he brings to this team. And then when you lose a player that did as much as Armando Bacot did, both on the floor and off, you do have a void there. And how they look in the front court is a big question heading into this year, and one of the biggest questions in this league. You want to buy Wake Forest, right? Because heading into this season, it will have been 8 years since Wake Forest has been to the NCAA tournament. Are they good enough to be in second? I think they are on paper, but now we have to see it. You know, I do think Steve Forbes has done a very nice job down at Winston-Salem. I think he would also admit he would have liked to be in the NCAA tournament by now. So for me, I don't know if I'm ready to turn the corner on Virginia. If I had a team that I think could finish second and shouldn't be a surprise, but probably will be if they were to do it, it would be Clemson. You know, I just think that when you make a run all the way to the Elite Eight, and when you win as much as they did last year, there's something in the water there with the way that they play and with the people that they return. You know, these are guys that have played in big games between Chase Hunter and Ian Shefflin, and they did a nice job of adding in the transfer portal as well. That I really am still buying Brad Brownell. I think they're absolutely a tournament team, but it wouldn't surprise me one bit if they finish in the top 3 in this league.
Yeah, I like Clemson. I hear what you're saying about Wake Forest. I understand the argument that Virginia is always going to win games, right? Like if you've bet against Tony Bennett at any point over the course of the last 10 years, then you probably almost always ended up being on the losing side of that bet. But
it's just so hard. It's just so sorry to interrupt you, but like when I was on staff at Clemson, it's so freaking hard when you go from playing Duke, who flies up and down, Carolina, who plays up and down, Florida State, who loves to get up and down, Miami, who always has a score or two that can give you 30 on a given night, goes up and down. And then you got to play freaking Virginia. You change your entire 3 days prior to that. And like, that's why they're so good in the conference, because they're not changing for anybody.
Suck to
But
play
you have to change everything you do to play against freaking Virginia.
Yeah, like it's the half of what makes them so effective is that it sucks to play against them. It's just not,
it's awful. And
it completely takes you out of your rhythm. Like I'm convinced that that's like 90% of the reason. Maybe that's too high, but that's a major part of the reason that Tony Bennett won't change is because he knows that it's impossible to find a way to play in a rhythm against them because they will not let you find a way to get out and run. And they are going to make you play a 55 or 60 possession basketball game. And you're going to do it against a defense that, when they actually have dudes, will be one of the best defenses in college basketball. And when they don't, it's still going to be one of the most well-drilled defenses that you can play in college basketball. It's just, they suck to play against.
I'm going to get a bit granular here, but what's crazy about Virginia is they do the same crap every single time defensively. They don't switch up coverages. They don't play the post any different. They don't guard you any different. It's the exact same freaking thing. Like, they're going to double in the post 100% of the time. You get it within 10 feet, they're doubling. They're going to hard hedge on ball screens 100% of the time. They're not going to change stuff. They're going to close out short, and then they're going to come out there and bump the heck out of you because they're strong as oxen. There's not a whole lot of variability. But because it's so it's so different than what everybody else does, it's like, there's no up the line with them.
And they're perfect. Like, they're perfect on their timing. Like, they know when that ball is going to the post, so that as soon as you get it on the catch, boom, you got two guys right there, and they know where to be to make that pass out difficult, right? They know exactly where they need to be and when they need to be there on those hard hedges to kind of blow up all those.
Yeah, because they don't vary it up.
Yeah, and they're like, their rotations are they suck to play against, and they're incredibly good at what they're able to do. Like,
why they've struggled though over in postseason play, and sometimes like why they've struggled is because they are willing to give up late contested threes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you shoot the ball well, you beat Virginia. Right. If you shoot it mediocre,
that's so true.
Yeah, like they're willing to live with that because you're not getting crap around the rim because everything is touched. There's not a cut that goes through the lane where you're not chucked. Like, they're so physical. They are willing to give up some threes because they collapse so heavy. Like, that's why they've lost to some of these smaller teams. UMBC, who just was like, hell, whatever shot you give us, we're going to take it because we got nothing to lose. Like, those are the Furman. Another perfect example. You have a bunch of shooters that can knock down shots. It's a bad matchup. That's why they've struggled in the tournament.
It's
not necessarily because they're not great, but.
Yeah, and I firmly believe that great offense will beat great defense because, like, if you could play the perfect defense in the world. If you have an elite shot maker, they can make those difficult shots, right? And if you make enough of those difficult shots, you're going to find a way to be able to win a game. And if you're good enough, you'll be able to make some of those. I don't think it's coincidence that the year that they won the title, they had NBA player Kyle Guy, and they had NBA player Ty Jerome, and they had top 5 pick Andre Hunter. Like, the year there, they actually had all of these like they stacked up the pros and the positions you need to have pros. That's the year they won.
What you think of Virginia is what you think of Day Ames and his evolution. Is he going to make a leap?
Mm-hmm.
Isaac McNeely.
I saw their staff. I saw the Kansas State staff, and one last weekend, and one, they didn't want to lose Day Ames, and two, they were like, if we're going to lose him, like he ended up in a place that's going to be really good for him because he'll be better in the style that Tony Bennett wants to play than the style of Kansas State. Like, so they were happy for him. That's a good thing.
Isaac McNeely as a star, and Jalen Worley and a new program. And if we see him fully break out and be a double-figure guy.
All right. There's two arguments that I want to make here. One is,
let's hear them.
It's kind of against UNC a little bit. And it's not, I think the loss of Armando Bacot is significant, but I think the bigger losses that they're going to run into is going to be Cormac Ryan and Harrison Ingram. And I don't think we're talking quite enough about, one, the impact that Cormac Ryan kind of had as a shooter, and two, the impact that Harrison Ingram and Ryan had defensively, and three, when you combine all of that, the way that they were able to end possessions because one of Ingram or Bacot was going to find a way to get a defensive rebound, right? The difference last year for North Carolina was that they went from being a team, let me just make sure I have the numbers right. They went from being a team that was outside the top 45 in defensive efficiency to literally the number 8 team in defensive efficiency on KenPom. And the biggest reason for me why they did that is because the impact of Ingram and Ryan and their switchability, the 3 and the 4,
Yeah.
and the fact that they became a very, 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 very good defensive rebounding team.
Very.
Yeah. So that to me, that's kind of and look, I hear what you're saying about Cade Tyson, and I'm not going to comment on him until I actually see him play in the ACC. Right?
He's good. He's good.
Yeah.
And Vin Allen Lubin, who as a Harrison Ingram kind of role, I'm not mad at it.
I want to see it. Like I got to see that before I buy. I still think North Carolina is like a top 20 team, and they'll be right there in the mix, somewhere near the top. And there's going to be games where RJ Davis goes for 40, and they like it doesn't matter what you do, he's going to go for 40, and they're going to win.
Right.
But I think over the course of a 20 game ACC season, I would tend to lean towards Duke beating them and Louisville. I think Louisville's going to end up being the second best team in this conference for a couple of reasons. One, I love.
Yeah. Can we stay on Carolina for a second before you go there?
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Fancy, I feel well. I'm not as concerned with that.
Okay. Why?
With the wing play, because I think Cade Tyson's that good.
Really?
I think Ben Allen Lubin's very good, but he can fill a role as a 3-4, whatever. That's just another player on the floor. I mean, how much is RJ going to pass it, really? And I don't mean that as a negative. It just kind of is what it is. Drake Powell could be a top 15 pick in the draft. Like you guys remember seeing him play at the Peach Jam. Like,
oh yeah,
versatile
player.
He's a jump shooting. What's the guy's at Theo Pinson? He's a jump shooting Theo Pinson, willing to play off the ball, do all those other things. They're still going to be fast. They're going to be able to create shots. Elliot Cadeau, I think he's going to have a better year shooting the basketball because I think it was just a confidence thing for him. My biggest concern, it's kind of small in the front. Like, they're not very big. And that's gone are the years of Tyler Hansborough and Deion Thompson and John Henson. And you keep going back, Eric Montross and Rasheed Wall. Gone are those days. Jalen Washington's got a lot on his shoulders. And you can't just box out and let somebody else go get the ball. You're going to have to go grab it because there's a lot of rebounds to be picked up. You look at their size in the front court compared to Duke, you get nervous.